disciples came to him, saying, "Tell us, when will these things be? And what will be the sign of your coming?"
In the prophecies, the prophets of old and Jesus Christ and his apostles foretold the signs of the last days thousands of years ago. And the signs of these ancient passages of scriptures are secrets to understanding what's happening now in the world, leading to the apocalypse and the return of Jesus Christ. So it's incredibly important to be aware of the signs of our times and how they connect with the prophecies of the Holy Scriptures, because they're happening just like the Bible said. And now, Syria with its allies of Russia and Iran have launched a major military offensive into southwest Syria and the Deraa province, which borders Israel at the Golan Heights. And they're doing that to retake that territory from rebels. Here's footage of what's happening now in Deraa province.
This is the first time government forces have used battle bombs in Deraa in a year. Helicopters struck several villages in what appears to be a major advance to take over the city. But this violates a truce that was brokered by Russia and the United States in efforts to bring an end to the 7-year war. The Syrian army is massing troops in the area. The opposition says thousands of Shia militias are also moving in. Deraa was the focal point of the Syrian uprising in 2011. But in recent years, the rebels have been retreating. They now control one neighborhood in the city and a few areas on the border with Jordan.
This military operation is very problematic because it is in the very southwest corner of the country where Syria has its border with Jordan, but also with Israel. And with a major military operation that puts not only Russia and Syria, but also Iran at Israel's border. So this has huge potential for incidents that of course will increase tensions, but can also be flashpoints of conflict. And there will be alarming incidents to happen, I believe, out of this operation. Already it's reported that some pro-Assad troops have went into the demilitarized area on the Israeli border and have taken over an old Golan UN outpost there. So this is a sign, this is an indicator of what part of what this operation is all about. It is about putting the Syrians back on to the Golan Heights border with Israel. And there are bad feelings Israel and the U.S. has toward Russia over doing this offensive, because Russia is breaking a de-escalation zone agreement for this area that it had with Israel and the U.S. For Russia decided that it supports, as announced by its foreign minister, Sergei Lavrov, it supports that Syrian troops should be positioned again on the border at the Golan Heights with Israel. So Russia, along with Syria, completely defied warnings by the U.S. and Israel not to start this offensive. And Syrian government helicopters are pressing the assault now on opposition-held areas in Deraa province, dropping barrel bombs targeting rebel-held towns. And Syrian and Iranian troops and equipment have been pouring into Deraa province, with the Syrian army already capturing rebel-held strategic points on its way down toward the town of Deraa and also toward the Golan, while over 12,000 civilians have fled the nearby areas in Deraa province in the last few days. And now it's reported that Russian jets have also struck opposition-held towns in the Deraa province of southwest Syria, providing the first air cover by Moscow to this expanding Syrian army offensive. Here's a clip of the Russian jets that have been striking here in the past few days in Deraa province.
Allah. Ya Allah. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Al-izzatu lillah. Allahu Akbar. 24/6/2018. الله أكبر. استهداف المياه الشرقية مغارات المياه. الله أكبر. يا رب تسلم.
Now, very interestingly, the U.S. has now told the Syrian rebels that they are on their own in Deraa province, that they should not expect military support to help them resist this offensive by Syria and Russia. The U.S. sent to the heads of the Free Syrian Army a message from Washington, where Washington wanted to make it clear, saying that you should not base your decisions on the assumption or expectation of a military intervention by the U.S. Likewise, Israel, entrusting deference to Russia, appears to have decided to stand aside and let the Syrian army finish its offensive for the capture of Deraa province back up to the borders. It seems that now there is no one stopping Syria and Russia from conquering the Deraa province, and again having not only Syrian troops on the Golan border with Israel, but also those of Magog Russia and those of Persia, also known as modern-day Iran. And this is just as described by the Ezekiel 38 prophecy, that in the last days, Magog Russia and its Arab allies as Iran will be at the northern border of Israel, with Israel in a stance of trusting for their safety to others. And then suddenly, there's an invasion that comes for them. But also, very importantly, not only will no one stop Syria and its allies from taking control of Deraa province back up to the Israeli Golan border, but this also means that there is no one stopping them from also taking control of all of Syria that is west of the Euphrates River. And Syria's president, Bashar al-Assad, has vowed that he will not stop until all of Syria is back under his regime's control. And obviously, he has Russia and Iran's full backing. So after Syria, Russia, and Iran have finished retaking Deraa province, and there are Syrian guards on the border with Israel again, this will make the Euphrates River that divides western and eastern Syria as the next line of major conflict in Syria. And it is there, at the Euphrates River, that the Revelation 9 prophecy foretells that the final world war explodes on the scene that will be absolutely apocalyptic. The events that are happening now are clear signs showing the world is on the very precipice of these major end-of-the-age prophecies. And as always, the signs of the prophecies come together quickly, and then their fulfillment happens very suddenly. The prophecies foretell there are awful events ahead for an unbelieving world that rejects Jesus Christ and scriptural truth. But just as awful as those events are, there are also exceedingly wonderful events foretold to happen in the future as the rapture for those who believe in Jesus Christ now and are prepared by being born again spiritually through Him into the kingdom of God. And it is these people, born again into the kingdom of God, believers of Jesus Christ, biblical believers of Jesus Christ, of whom Jesus said in Luke 21, will be counted worthy to escape all these things that will come to pass in the great tribulation of earth, as instead they will stand before and with Jesus Christ. For an ungodly world, the last days are the end, but for the born-again believers of Jesus Christ, they are not the end, but the beginning of a beautiful new future through him.